Okay, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're doing a single varietal from four different regions, or four different countries, in fact. So we have done something like this before, but I thought it'd be good to revisit. So we're going to look at Chardonnay. Chardonnay. Right. We won't be going too in depth to it, but it'll be enough for us to actually get a bit of education for Adam for it. So, Chardonnay, originally, well, for the most part, originally, Old World, France, particularly from Burgundy. In the area of Burgundy, you've got Chardonnay pretty much grown all the way across Burgundy, from Chablis down to Côte de Nuit, Côte de Beaune, the Chardonnay, the Marsanne, and then goes down into the Beaujolais region, which there is some Chardonnay, but it's not appellated as being a region that they make Chardonnay from. So in the French region, you've got like Grand Cru villages, you've got Premier Cru. There's only a certain amount of villages that have been listed up as Grand Cru, and that's more of a historical thing than anything else. You're going to find that this is the original idea of Chardonnay, that's what we're going to try, and then we're going to look at the New World expressions in comparison to that. So the first expression we're going to look at is actually French. It is Burgundy. It is from the Bourguignon Haute Côte de Nuit. Now, the two whites you can grow in Burgundy is Chardonnay and Aligoté. There is no Aligoté, and this is 100% Chardonnay. This is the 2022.
All you can grow there?
No, you can grow Pinot Noir. It's the third one. So that's a red. The only whites you can grow are those two. There is other whites grown in that region, and that is just not, but they're not appellated to grow in that region. So that means that you can't go, this is a Premier Cru Semillon or a Premier Cru something. You can't do that. So what they do is, for the most part, because it's a business, they grow what they can appellate to.
That's what confuses me with France.
Yeah.
You can't tell unless you know what they grow in that area, what you're drinking.
Yeah,
Right
so-
on the bottle, Chardonnay.
Mhm.
Well, some.
Yeah. Well, this is a prime example. This literally just says Bourguignon, Hautes Côtes, which is the high area of the Côte de Nuit. So Côte de Nuit, yeah. So now if you know the region, you know that it's going to be Chardonnay and Aligoté, or could even be Aligoté by itself. It just says Blanc. It doesn't actually tell you that it's actually a Chardonnay.
And when you say Burgundy to most people, they instantly think red.
Yeah, well,
To
Burgundy
me, it
is,
sounds like a red wine.
yeah, so Burgundy is renowned for being Pinot Noir. So particularly Côte de Nuit. Côte de Beaune, a little bit of that is actually Pinot Noir, but most part of it is in the Côte de Nuit region of the northern area. But Chablis, if I said the word Chablis to you,
That's Chardonnay.
Chardonnay.
So, yeah, it sounds like Chardonnay.
Yeah, so and all that's grown in Chablis is Chardonnay. So yeah, you've got to know the regions, you've got to know the grapes that are grown into those regions. But when you dig into it, and you're a bit of a nerd thing, what you discover is what's grown there classically, and that's what they talk about. They expound on this. Then you go to a couple of smaller winemakers, or some people that live in the region that grow grapes and have grown grapes for generations. Oh yeah, no, this is all about Chardonnay. That little bit there is Aligoté. Oh, so what do you do with the Aligoté? Oh, we make a Blanc out of it. Oh, do you actually list it as Aligoté? No, not generally. We because it's a white that's grown in our region, we can actually just call it a Bourguignon Blanc. Oh, okay. Is it actually a Premier Cru or a Grand Cru? No, it can't be either of those because there's no Aligoté Grand Cru or Premier Cru vineyards. However, there can be Chardonnay Grand Cru vineyards or Premier Cru vineyards. Might grow Aligoté in there, but they're not appellated for that. So, and you can even find, yeah, as I said, you can find grape varietals that generally aren't grown in that area, but the winemaker might go, oh, I really wanted to grow some Semillon. Well, this is a great area for Semillon, whatever region. I want to grow it for myself, for my friends. I might make a wine with it and put it out there, but it will never have the AOP, appellation, origin, protege, or appellation control. Yeah, but you can't.
It's from the area, but not.
Yeah, but you can't actually get a thing. It'll be more Vinditablo or table wines, or in Italy they've got an IGT, Integration Grafica Typica, which just says this is from this region. That's really all it means. In some of the other ones you've got like product of France. So yeah, again, but if you've got a vineyard that is an expensive vineyard that has been Premier Cru, why would you grow anything but what it's been uploaded for? Unless there's a very good reason. So yeah, so we're looking at Chardonnay from France. So let's have a look at this. Now, a couple of things culturally for the French is if it's a good vineyard, they will throw oak at it. Okay, if it is just a vin de table wine, they generally don't throw oak. They'll maybe put it in an old oak barrel. Might get a bit of texture from that, but they will. If it's a good wine, they will put oak at it, and so you can generally tell quickly just by sticking your nose in. Is it oaked? If it is oaked, well, it's going to be a good wine for
It's
them.
definitely got it.
Yeah. Oh, that is like, gee, that's nice, isn't it?
Is that a buttery note to the nose?
No, well, I don't say buttery because you don't get buttery on the nose, but just that sweet vanillins that you're getting in there, that is delightful. That is oak. That is actually good oak
It's
too.
really light, limey sort of colour to
Yeah,
it.
so pale straw colour.
Pale straw.
Yeah, pale straw. Oh wow, the nose on that is just amazing. And then you put it over the palate. There's a whole bunch of floral notes. There's no real tropical fruits to it. Or then again, there could be. There's sort of that really subtle pineapple note to it, but that's from a really warmer area. I'm not sure that's. I think my mind might be playing tricks on me with that one.
Well, Paris suggestions were.
Yeah. You got that too? Yeah. So I've got a few tropical notes on this. So this is obviously, it's the high areas of Côte d'Ivoire, which are generally going to not be particularly fruit driven, but this one might have been picked a bit later in the season. 22 might have been a warmer year too. That's really good.
It's got great texture.
Oh, that's a lovely texture.
It's verging on the edge of getting a bit of butteriness, that
Yeah.
palate feeling.
But it's subtle and it's aromatic and it's just pretty. Like that is a great wine. My God. Well, okay, let's be open and honest. It's about $65 a bottle, but unfortunately, when you're buying wine from France, from a good region of France, it is going to be expensive. Let's see what this actually has on it. Appellation Bourguignon, Haute de Côte d'Ivoire, Contrôlé. So this is not an AOP, it is definitely an AOC. So Appellation Origin Contrôlé, so it is definitely, has to be what's comes from that area. It's lovely. Actually, I
Any
think,
rules on where their barrels have to come from?
no, they don't actually. Generically, it's French oak. You are allowed to throw American oak or Hungarian oak onto it, but that's a winemaking choice. And with the lighter fruit in it, if you did throw American oak over it, it'd become really butterscotchy and sort of really quite.
But they have like rules on it has to be unused. So
No.
unused. Obviously, you wouldn't want to use a bourbon barrel.
You're talking about the bourbon
Wine.
rules, like they say they have to use virgin oak and things.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing about
So
that.
they can buy anything they want.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to throw some guava cruisers in a barrel and sell it to them, they'd be happy to use that. Or like, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, why not? Go
Some winemaker out there just
Knock
put
yourself
notes on
out.
that.
Someone has just gone, Dan wants
Well,
guava.
we're getting
cruiser barrels.
tropical, and Andrew doesn't think the tropical should be there. So it might have been pineapple
no.
cruisers in a
Yeah.
barrel.
Much
If you're getting tropical fruit from a French wine, then you are generally going to be getting a later pick because they are a lot cooler climate than we are in Australia or America or New Zealand. So they're a lot cooler climate. So to get those tropical notes turning up, that means that they've picked it a little later to try and allow the sugars to evolve and to actually get those estery notes in there that become those aromatics. That is really lovely. That is just
Good.
Oh no, that's more than good.
Oh, I wouldn't taste the rest yet.
There's a touch of nougat in there as well. Like that when you get that sort of vanilla nougat, you get that sort of just that slight nutty.
That might be what I was getting on the nose before.
Oh, it's just so good. Like I'm a big Australian wine lover, and that just is so good. Wow. Okay, so that's France.
Sorry, before you move on.
Yep.
Because I get a little bit of mineralness in it
Yep.
up front.
Yep.
Which I picked up in that Mount Adam. which
Yeah,
we
we
tried
did
earlier.
earlier, yeah.
What's the terroir like over there? Is it flinty, rocky?
It is quite rocky. So, because that area has been farmed for centuries, that a lot of the dirt that they're using off that they have to reinvigorate quite regularly. The problem that they've got is that, like, the Côte Nui is hill nuts essentially. It's literally like heavy igneous rocks, granites, igneous limestone, shale, limestone particularly underneath the topsoil. And the topsoil isn't sandy topsoil; it's actually usually fairly clay, but not a huge amount of it. So the vines, yeah, it's not, no, definitely not deep. Kind of like the Portlandian and Kimmeringian soils you get in Chablis, where there's nothing on top of it, and that's the soil. It's literally that hard rock, that calcified rock underneath it. This is very similar in that, but there is a little bit more because they have reinvigorated the area. You actually are getting a little bit more of that, less flintiness and more of those fruit characteristics. I will say that it's just so subtle and good. Like there is when we talk about complexity, it's like, oh, this obvious flavour. This one literally just weaves in and out, and it's just wow.
Yeah, it's very well.
Yeah, well balanced.
Balanced,
Just
integrated.
Yeah.
Everything. Which I guess is the same as balanced. I just like
no, integration is different from balance. You can actually have a wine that's in balance but not integrated, and it's really obvious. We were talking about that previously when we were talking about Mount Adam, how some of the valley floor stuff you get in Barossa is quite jammy and fruit driven. Then you have you get the fruit, and then you get such and such.
Yeah.
When the integration is where it seamlessly involves itself into it. Yeah.
Well,
Now,
lovely.
yes, the next wine I'm going to talk about is a New Zealand wine, Ebro from Hawke's Bay.
Oh, that's wicked.
Oh yeah, I went to this winery just recently, and it is amazing.
It's just like a trip around the world because we can't afford to go on
Yeah,
airplanes.
no,
So I
because
think
fuel prices are so high, we've had to get the world to come to us.
it's flying from France to New Zealand.
Yeah, it's a bit of a flight, but we'll get there. Now, I will give you a little bit of background on Church Road. Not so much historical background, but current background for it. So I went to Church Road. This wasn't the place I was set up to go to see. I just went, I really like Church Road wines. I want to go and try the wine. So we literally walked up to the cellar door, and I said, hey, has our rep actually contacted us to say it's all done? And she's like, nope. I was like, well, that's terribly unfortunate.
It's fine.
And she goes, but because you're in the industry, I'll take you through and we'll show you the wines. So we tried the wines and we had a big discussion. So Pernod Ricard was the previous owner for Church Road Wines. Pernod Ricard had a tendency to just let the winemaker and the winery do what it does well without getting too heavily involved. They would some cash for it, as long as they produced the wines at a price point they wanted. They were happy to sell it and structure it and move it on and distribute it. Now it's gone to Accolade, which is now renamed itself as Vinicky. And I said, oh, so what's happening with the wines? And what's going on? Have you actually had a meeting? And this happened like a month or two beforehand, and they said, we know nothing yet. So everyone was kind of a bit on tenterhooks. It's not a great feeling for a winery to be into. However, I said, I really have loved your Chardonnays and your Reds. Even the Hawke's Bay Reds were really, really good. The Cabernet Merlots and Merlots were always extremely good. Chardonnay has been my favourite one from there. And it's my favourite because of a couple of reasons. And we'll see if we can see these reasons in there. Oh, okay, you stick the nose in. Yeah. Stick your nose in and tell me what you get, Adam.
I don't know if I could describe that one actually.
Okay, so Dan, you want to give it a go?
I'm getting a lot of vanilla and oak on. I'm getting a lot more fruit straight up
Yep.
front.
Okay, a lot more fruit. I'm getting some light vanillins in the back, but particularly that little hint of cordite note, that struck match.
So now you think we're talking flinty. Hang on.
Not flinty, struck match.
Yeah, I'm not overly getting it. I'm getting real.
I am starting to get it now you said it.
Yeah. The other part is Dan's not wrong when he talks about flintiness in this, because the areas this one comes off is actually again quite stony. Hawke's Bay itself, it's lots and lots of very small amount of subsoil, lots of rock underneath.
Mm.
Yeah,
There's a little bit there, but there's the fruit in it. It's a soft white peachy
White
fruit.
peachy
or
fruit,
something.
yep.
Maybe a bit of white pear. But
bit of nashy pear.
it's gentle, but it's there. I find it dominant.
Yeah, it's a lot punchier than the previous one. The previous one was almost ethereal in the way that you would drink it. You're just like, oh, that's really lovely. This one is really obvious about the fruit componentry.
Yeah, it's definitely, that's a difference. Yeah, I've noticed a big difference between the two.
Mm. You know, especially when you look at it. You know, we've just literally had the other one. This one in comparison to the French one is a lot more of a punch in the face.
Mm.
But I get that little bit of struck match in there,
Yeah.
which I really quite like. I was going to put another one on Nautilus that we know really well because we drink it quite regularly. But I decided not to because I wanted to see the Church Road shine, because I wanted to look at it. You know, it's a $30 price point or $28 price point, and the next couple of ones we got are $30 and $40 essentially. So I wanted to keep it in the same ballpark. Nautilus is about 55, 60.
Yeah. How much is the French one?
65, but we are talking from France, from a region of France that's appellated. You are going to be paying dollars for it. If you go over to France and buy that one over there, you're probably looking at maybe €15, €20. Do it over here, $65. Yeah,
Conversion, that's not.
that's
For those people who
horrific, Chatty. Come on, that's without the fuel crisis we've
I
got.
mean,
For people who don't go overseas, what the hell's €25?
So €25 translated across to Australian dollars is about $40.
Oh, okay.
it's not.
It's
You're
not
not,
that
you're not
much
flying.
different,
That's
is
what I
it?
said. You're not
Yeah.
paying for the plane fare over there and
Mm.
sitting on your bum in a plane or an airport.
So 36 hours now, because you can't go through Dubai
Not
anymore.
to save,
Mm.
not to save $20.
Yeah, yeah, $20 is still $20.
But
Mm.
Get a free bottle of Mount Adam.
Okay, that is actually very typical of the Chardonnays that I had when I was over in Hawke's Bay. Even some of the more expensive ones, like $60 and $70 ones, probably a little bit more intensity when it came to the oak component, but the fruit component, that is really obvious that it is Hawke's Bay. It's really lovely.
why does Chardonnay seem to hold so much winemaking versus like a Sauv Blanc or a Semillon or
Yeah, so
a Pinot Gris?
because the flavours in Chardonnay are usually a lot more, you can go from one end of the spectrum to the other. So you can go all the way from citrus notes to tropical fruits. That means that you can actually handle a little bit more winemaking put to your grapes. Whereas Sauv Blanc essentially it essentially goes from elderflower to passion fruit, which is about that much. Whereas you're looking at citrus all the way to tropical, so it's that much. So depending on when you pick it, the style of oak barrel that you're putting it to. In fact, I know there's an oak barrel that uses acacia wood rather than oak. An oak barrel. A barrel that's got acacia wood. Actually, it's a blend of acacia and oak. And a winemaker does that I know. So you've got all these different winemaking techniques and winemaking skills. It does handle it more. And in fact, malolactic fermentation, which is something that a red undergoes that white generally doesn't, Chardonnay can handle that too. It's
loved it. As far as I'm concerned,
yeah.
it's like, bring it on.
Yeah, I mean, like a Sauv Blanc, you can have what's called a Puy Fumé, which is it's essentially like a smoke, where you basically, Michael Hall does a really good version of it, where his Sauv Blanc is actually in oak. What's the other one that does it?
Roussan, really, or-
Pardon?
Does he do a Roussan?
He does a Roussan as well, but no, the Tecoco Sauv Blanc from Cloudy Bay is actually also a Puy Fumé style, but they've oaked it a bit. So you can take some winemaking to it. The problem is that when you start whacking winemaking over the top, it can detriment from the fruit, it can detriment from the texture or what you're looking for, and it can add texture to something that you may not want to. So, for example, if you wax texture over Viognier, And some Viognier is amazing if it's picked at the right time. You put oak with it, it is beautiful, it's integrated. Condrieu was a really good example of this. Problem is though, if you do that to a New World style that is just nothing but fruit with not enough acid, you get this really flabby acid, this oak that doesn't seem to fit in with it, and it's quite an unpleasant drink. So you've always got to be really careful. So this is what winemakers train for. This is oenology as a whole is an art form as much as it is a science. So now we're going to look at Australian wine. Now we have a lot of Australian wine here obviously, and we have chosen one of our more favoured winemakers in that this guy produces really small amount of wine, but what he does do is exceptionally good. So this is a Sang de Pigeon Chardonnay, made by Dan.
Michael Hall.
Yes. Now
Who-
Michael
who you
Hall.
left me with last time all alone, and I had to do
know.
all the ordering.
Yeah, that's because I was in my gym jams.
Yeah, he was washing his hair.
I was watching it. No, literally I was in my gym jams. I was doing stuff and I was like, oh my god, I forgot he was there. So Michael Hall, he is personally, for me, one of the most awesome dudes that I've met. Like he's such a lovely human being. He's also an exceptional winemaker. A really good guest, so if you ever have him stay at your place, he's a really lovely guest as
He'll
well.
wash up for you.
But he is just a really genuinely good guy, and in the wine industry, that counts for a lot. For me, it does. Like I've
yeah,
met-
he's very upfront.
he's very upfront. He tells you exactly what you're looking for, but he's also, just as I said, a really good guy, and I love supporting him because I think his wines, like David Friend's, they're small, they're boutique, there's not a great deal of them produce, but what he does produce is amazing. He doesn't have vineyards himself, but he buys from growers who he knows really, really well and gets really top tier grapes. Now, this one
He's
sits at
not
about,
only he's the winemaker,
yeah,
he's the wine rep, he's the
Yep.
wine salesman.
Yeah.
And he's
he does have a cellar door and in Barossa near Langmore. He actually has a guy, Phil, I believe his name is, who is a cellar door manager and is doing a great job for him. Well, he told me last time I was talking about a great job. But just the winemaking that he puts into it. So, ex-Sotheby's jeweler. So, in other words, he knows about jewellery and therefore worked for Sotheby's, the auction house. When he came to Australia, he worked all the way through Burgundy and Bordeaux, Beaujolais. And then he came to Australia. He found that he loved the Adelaide Hills, became friends with a couple of really good grape growers and buys grape from them. I believe he gets his stuff made at Alex Head's winery, so he's the winemaker, so he uses the equipment and stores his barrels there and stuff. And which means that this isn't a huge production. If you can find it, buy it, and buy a lot of it because it's not a huge production. That being said, we'll have a look at this from a bigger production house is Church Road. This is $35, where this is about $30. So let's have a look at the difference. Like that is the struck mash note I'm talking about.
colour-wise so far, they've all been very, very similar.
Yep.
It's not lighter or darker or.
Yeah, if you get lots and lots of oak whacked over the top of it, they will start getting golden, especially as they age. When a wine ages, the microoxidation occurs. The oak componentry in it will actually begin to turn a colour into like that sort of golden note, and then from gold it goes to that bricky brown note. So it's a good thing to keep an eye on. If your bottles start showing bricky brown, you've probably got a bit of a problem.
We'll drink them now.
But this has got literally on the nose that struck match.
Yeah.
Like massive struck match. And it's one of my
A
favourites.
lot more obvious than you said you had struck max on
Yep.
last one.
Now you've pointed it out.
Definitely.
This is a much more into the citrus spectrum than it is actually more than it is the tropical spectrum. It's got some of those nougat notes on it. It seems lighter than this one in that
Definitely come.
yeah, this has got more of those pineapple-y sort of notes and things to it. But this one,
It's more of a mineral style.
yeah, this is actually a lot more close to that than it is to that.
Definitely, yeah, I see the similarities.
But just the winemaking one is fantastic. You know, and this is a $35 bottle. This isn't a $65, $70 bottle.
It's great.
Mm.
He makes good wine.
His premium Chardonnay, which if you can get hold of again, is tiny in comparison to the production of that. You're looking at $60. It's worth every cent.
It has a bit more oak on it.
Yeah, it has a lot more oak.
Did I actually buy enough of this, or do we need to see if Michael's got any more?
Well,
I think we're out of some of the Chardonnay guys. His top Chardonnay.
yeah, I'm waiting for his release of his top Chardonnay because he didn't came and showed you the same division, didn't he?
I think he had the other one, but we still have it. So
Oh, did we?
bottles
Oh,
in
okay.
shelf.
Yeah, we need it back then. We need the Sauv Blanc too. 'Cause
I was being reserved on my order.
Ah. Mm. Oh.
You can't send me with a credit card, the company credit card to buy stuff because I'm
Why
like,
not?
oh,
Oh, you're just concerned. That's fine. Look, the thing is though that, you know I'm not going to be here forever. So, I want to get as many people dealing with these people because if you get your own relationships with these winemakers, you're going to find much more joy in ranging their wines, a much more way to, better way to sell them.
yeah, you can.
You'll be able to tell
You
a
can
story
talk,
himself.
you can
Yeah.
talk to a customer and say, we've met this bloke.
Yeah.
It's not like, I won't say McWiggins or anything, but we don't know who it is. It's some
We don't know who McWiggin
multinational
is.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't put a face to where it came from,
Mm.
or the quality that may or may not be.
Oh, I want another glass of that.
You'll have to wait.
Sad face.
One more glass.
One more glass, then we can stop the camera and start drinking for reals. That. Okay, now, just quickly, in those three wines, do you see a difference from the terroir?
Yes.
So terroir being the French word meaning the regionality
Yeah.
or the area around it. It's a bit of a catch-all term that says, terroir can be, the angle of the vineyards, the amount of sun that they get, the breeze that comes through, the diesel trucks that drive past, anything like that. That's all terroir.
We have diesel.
Yeah, we do. Well, they did when I was over there. There's another part of terroir that a winemaker talked to me about. He said the terroir is also the winemaking. He said if you are in that region, you live in that region, you've seen the grapes grow in that region, and you've drunk wines in that region, you are wanting to make a wine that stands out as well as everything else in that region. So you don't want to make a wine that you go, that tastes just, yeah.
So you don't want to say, oh, this is from
You want,
Coonawarra and that doesn't
yeah.
taste like it's from
Don't
Coonawarra.
worry, you want to show someone it is. And that's what winemaking can be part of too. So I know that in Barolo, for example, there was a winemaker I was talking to. He whacked a whole bunch of American oak over the top of a Barolo. Now Barolo is a very light coloured wine, but the tannins are huge. So really it looks like Pinot Noir, but tastes like Durif, that big, huge tannin to it. So he threw American oak over it. And he was like, oh yeah, American oak. And I tried it, it was interesting, but it wasn't something you go, that's Barolo.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't Barbaresco or Langhe Nebbiolo, it was Barolo. And I tried it, Barolo, and I went, oh. And he goes, yeah, I understand, that was an experiment, here's my classic Barolo style. And it was amazing, and that was good. So the winemaker's decisions are really, really important about the cultural and historical background
Especially
of
if
that
you're
region.
buying in grapes and making it.
Well, he wasn't buying any grapes.
Yeah.
It's his grapes.
But
yeah.
they should say, Michael.
Oh, Michael, yeah.
buys his grapes from
Yeah.
vineyards.
Yes.
He can make that anywhere. Obviously, closest to where you get them. It's
Yeah.
going to be fresher and better.
Well, this is the part. So people talk about sulfites, and this is a really important conversational piece too. Sulfites. Everyone talks about how, I'm allergic to sulfites. 90% of you aren't. Stop lying. You may not know this or not, but if you can eat eggs and dried apricots, you can have sulfites. However, that being said though, sulfites are a histamine creating thing. People can be allergic to sulfites. And the whole point that sulfites are used for, it's a protectorate. So when you pick the grapes and you put them into a 2-ton plastic container to take to the winery to dump into the crusher, you might not, like there might be a lineup, like 2 ton.
Yeah, it could be sitting out there
It could be sitting there
for
for,
night or
and you
day.
don't want it to actually micro-oxidize. You don't want those grape skins to carbonic maceration. You don't want fermentation to occur early. You throw sulfide over the top of it. Right? Done. Then you might crush the grapes. They come off. It goes into a tank. Rightio, let's get the fermentation underway. Oh no, the fermentation tanks aren't available. Sulfites over the top of that will stop that again. They have transformed that with dry ice. You can do the same with dry ice by putting a dry ice cap over the top of wines. That doesn't stop fermentation, but it certainly prevents, slows the micro-oxidation down. You put it through, you get it into the tanks, it has to undergo fermentation. Generally you get it through pretty quickly. Then you put it into a barrel. Now, if you want it to undergo malolactic fermentation, you don't add sulfites. If you don't want it to go under malolactic fermentation, you do add sulfite to stop it.
But you people keep the sulfates in the barrel, right?
Yeah.
I
So-
want more mellow.
Oh, well. But yeah, so the other part is that, also when it comes to bottling itself, the bottle goes through, it's like sparge. That can generally be argon or it could be sulfites as well. And again, it sort of gives that protectorate for it to stop any, especially if you haven't, especially,
Oxygen.
yeah, but if you, it's just also especially if you don't want any lees that are in there. So if you've got a wine that's unfined and unfiltered,
Yeah, unless you're aiming for that.
well, even if you are, you make sure you want to have some sulfur added to it to stop the re-fermentation. You don't want a secondary fermentation to happen in your bottle. So, and when unfined, unfiltered wines, when you're racking off, if you draw any lees into it, there's that opportunity that it comes back to life and re-ferments.
So there's live yeast.
Yeah. Oh, well, the dead yeast become alive again. They're like zombies.
Cheeky buggers.
Yeah, zombie yeast.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, so this is all the reasons that they do it. The no preservative added, because remember sulfites are a naturally occurring part of the fermentation
It's
process.
actually on the grape as well.
Yeah, they're part of the
On the
fermentation.
vine itself, it's got, you'll see the whiteness, a little bit of whiteness on the outside of the grapes
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
It's a natural sulfate.
That's a natural sulfate. So what actually happens is when you actually go into fermentation, when esters are formed, sulfites are also formed. So again, there's a natural protectorate occurring in that. So while it's really, really important that if you are doing a no preservative added wine, you're still going to get sulfates in it. Always. Like, it's just naturally part of it. So that's why you are allowed to add it in. You're not allowed to add stuff in that isn't naturally occurring in the grape anyway, which is why you can acid adjust with tartaric acid. It's also why you can colour adjust with tannin. So you can do all these winemaking sort of tricks because it's all part of the grape as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But supposedly all natural.
Yeah, well, it is
But
all.
without carrying on too much longer with all that, because
Yeah.
we've still got to try.
One more to go, yeah.
So natural wines.
Natural
Do
wines.
they add? Have they got to add that in as well?
Generally they do, yeah. They generally have to add sulfur into it. They generally have to because otherwise the secondary fermentation will occur because they've left all the lees in.
Yeah, it's got stuff in it.
However, that being said, a lot of those colorifics that you see in white wine is essentially because they haven't cold crashed it, which means you get it really chilled and all the unstable proteins and colloids being bits of grape skin and stuff,
What
would
if it's
fall out.
floating around in there?
Yeah, it would fall out because it gets cold, that all sinks to the bottom. If it's unfined and unfiltered, so it's a style called 0-0, which is no addeds, no retractants, no subtractants. So natural wine will allow that to happen. Like if it's 0, we'll talk about 0-0 natural wine only. You can cold crash, that's fine. But at the end of it, you bottle it, your 0-0 wine, you are literally rolling a dice to see if it comes to Queensland and the heat reinvigorates the yeast and you undergo a secondary fermentation.
Whereas they start exploding, or
No, well they can explode if they become pet real quick, or it can be just a natural Sauv Blanc where suddenly you begin drinking and it gets this really spritzy sort of unpleasant flavour to it.
Fair enough.
Anyway, well, let's go to the last one. So the last one is
Adam's looking thirsty.
Bogle Vineyards. So this is a Chardonnay from California.
I was nearly going to add to that conversation.
Well, yeah. What were you going to say? I don't know.
I was going to say about that, on the counter there we got that sulphite.
Oh, the SO to go.
Yeah. So what does that exactly do?
That sulfite. So you can buy what's called SO to go from our store. And SO to go is literally a food grade hydrogen peroxide that combines with the sulfites to become a volatile gas that the sulfites in
Tell
it.
Adam, don't tell me.
So the volatile gas will then literally breathe off. So you add your SO to go, you do this, you let it sit for about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
The volatile gas literally blows off.
Just goes in.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, the sulfur combines with the SO with the hydrogen peroxide and becomes a volatile gas. And it comes off. So therefore, it reduces the sulfites in wine. I think by about 60%. I want to say 60%.
It says on the cars between 60 and
60 and 80% or something like that. Yeah.
So to put it in the full bottle, you'd have to leave the lid off. You can't just.
Yeah, you can't just shut the lid back on again because the volatile gas goes whee. Can't go. You'll pull up and you hear.
supposedly there's no smell or anything, but
No. All right. So
try that.
Back to the wine.
back to Chardonnay.
This is dark. This is a deeper.
Yeah, it's a lot more gold.
It's got a lot more gold to it.
Now I'm going to use some. What's the word for it? When you stereotype things, when you actually say broad generalizations, that's the word for it. Generalizations.
Yeah, Americans.
Yeah. No, this is a broad generalization, and this is kind of what we're doing. We're looking at broad generalizations of Australian, French, New Zealand, and American wine. When I look at American wine, and every time I've had American wine, in every guise of American wine, for every grape of American wine, I always find Americans do to their wine what Americans do to everything. They make it more.
So they
More sugar.
do what Texans do to a steak.
Everything's
Essentially, you're going to have more oak, you're going to have more mallow, you're going to have more fruit. They're looking for more. You know, if you're having a wine that
Now you're getting my hopes up. It's going to be more.
well, I didn't say it was going to be more.
There's going to be more but less.
There'll be more of everything. I mean, we just had a wine that we all thought was amazing. And the first one we thought was stunning. Very ethereal, very punchy. So let's have a look.
Ooh, some fancy that. So I'm getting really fruity, I feel like I'm getting.
This is really fruity. Really fruity. But it's also got really oak to it as well.
Mm.
By the way, I really enjoy this wine. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great wine, but it is really American. Really.
Now, one of the popular American sellers is the Fat Bastard.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's
Is
not.
that a...
So Fat Bastard is quite a lot of old oak on it,
Yeah.
but it is from the Central Valleys of California, not the actual.
Still California.
Still California, but not.
California's got a lot of different.
So it's a bulk wine.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to look at, how we talk about AOP, AOC,
Yeah.
Premier Cru, Grand Crus, When you look at California, there's what's called AVAs, American Viticultural Areas. And those AVAs have certain rules and regulations around them too. So if you say this wine is a Napa AVA, it means it is from the Napa Valley, and the wine is made to the Napa Valley style of American Viticultural Association. If it is in Willamette, Oregon, and it's nested as well, so it might just be California, big area.
Yeah.
Inside California, there'll be like Santa Barbara, Monterey, Napa Valley, Sonoma Valley, Russian River, going up to Oregon, Willamette. You've got Oregon, Willamette.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sort of nested inside
Yeah.
that. And in fact, if you have enough money, your own winery can be the AVA.
Oh,
Because there are a couple of wineries that have paid to have, because they've got a very specific geological area inside that. So it might be a riverbed that is nothing but Gillette stones. And which is different from the other areas in that region, but it's literally on your vineyard only. You can claim that to be to the American Viticultural Association, say, this Gilletted area of my river, this area here is
Like
different
nothing
from
else.
everything else. I want my AVA for this. And
so you have to take a little bit of pinch of salt here and there?
no, not really.
Necessarily?
No, it's usually, there's a reason for it. It's geological reasons generally.
Mm.
We talk about geology a lot when it comes to the production of wine, because it's really part of the terroir, and it's part of the so we talk about Côte de Beaune, Hulk Côte de Beaune, the higher area of Côte de Beaune,
Yeah.
instead of just Côte de Beaune, or Côte de Nuit, sorry. So the AVA, for example, is this particular AVA is blah, 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 and you put the money forward to it, they go and do a geological survey, they determine that the geological parts of that vineyard even are so dichotomous or so different from everything else around it, that deserves an AVA. It's a lot of money,
Yeah.
a lot of money. But if you are really passionate about it, and you can prove via the wine, stuff made from this area tastes like this, whereas everything else around it tastes completely differently, there is a reason for
There's a
that.
reason.
Yeah, there's a reason. So, it's at least the Americans are following an AVA itself. That doesn't say the winemaking has to be the same way.
Yeah.
That's like France started all that.
Yeah, they did.
This area, and all this is what taken on.
Well, that's because
Our
Champagne,
grapes better than yours all.
Champagne, Burgundy, Bordeaux, historically all grow very specific styles of grapes, and they make a one specific style. When France and the EU formed, there was a lot of pushback from wine regions: Italy, Spain, Portugal, all of the Hungary, Slovakia, Slovenia, all had their own historical backgrounds for it, and it became an overarching thing where your region, to comply with EU regulations, so that's EU, your country's regulations, or actually EU, your international, EU, your country's regulations, your area's regulations, your specific vineyard regulations.
Who's at the top of that? Is it just government?
That's the weird part.
Who's
It is-
running all this?
It is always a blend between whoever's got the money. Because it is literally the government. Okay, so let's just look at the CIBC. This is actually the guys who run Champagne. CIBC, there's three distinct parts of the CIBC. You've got growers, you've got the houses or the merchants that make the wines, and then you have the governmental oversight. On a board, you have 50% 40% these guys, 40% these guys, and 20% the government. And there's a reason for that. The government is kind of not really involved. They know that area is really important economically, so they're there to make sure that the growers don't screw the houses don't screw the growers, and that the protection of the word champagne and the growing practices in Champagne are really important.
Also keep the money flowing.
Yeah.
Flowing
So
up here.
it is all about money. Bordeaux is the same thing. Tuscany is the same thing. If you go to Tuscany, one of my favourite wines is actually a Rosso we've got called Governo. It's a Toscano Rosso, which is an IGT. That means Integration Graphica Typica, which is just a general wine from that region. Phenomenal wine from that region. That being said, though, if you wanted to get a Chianti Classico, that's Pepperly, or any of those sort of, we've got a couple of them over there. Or you can just have Chianti, which is from that region of Tuscany, but it's not as a Classico region. So, yeah, it's really important to know those.
We can't call it a count, Australian.
We can't call it an Australian Chianti because we're not in the region of Chianti. So, that's
It's
a
just
really important.
amazing how far it's stretched out,
Yeah.
starting from maybe France and the areas And then branching into cheeses and
Yes.
and
I mean, you know,
it's not a Parmigiano. Have you
yeah,
come up-
Parmigiano Reggiano.
Yeah.
Someone actually, this is a for reals thing too.
That's not a chicken Kiev. That's
Yeah,
That's a crumb chicken.
that's a Russian chicken. Oh, too soon. So a friend of mine was having a pasta bowl, and he had, you know, obviously Italian pasta, no pepper on it. He found a small black thing in there. He's like, oh, that's weird. I didn't want pepper. He took it out and looked at it. It's a microchip. An RFI microchip. Why did you think there is a microchip, a tiny little microchip in his Italian pasta?
so they can see where it goes around the world.
No.
Oh, a couple of years ago this came up.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It is actually Parmigiano Reggiano.
It's registered in Parmesan.
So Parmigiano Reggiano, the Parmesan cheese that's from that area, they were having a whole bunch of problems with people faking Parmigiano Reggiano. So what they did is they put little trackers in there. They literally, it's a microchip in it. So you can scan it, actually go, beep, that's for reals.
Right.
I kid you not.
And then you can go to the local shit plant and go,
Yeah.
there's two
Yeah. Yes.
Parmesan eaters.
I think we've gone now way off topic. But I
This
thought that was,
started in
Have we
California.
yeah. That being
Dan's
said,
already finished
so
it, right?
yeah. So what do you reckon of the wine then?
I drank it.
I'll have some more of it.
Yeah, I'm actually.
Look,
if
that
we're now
is-
going to discuss it.
I got very fruity when I first got the cigar.
It's very fruity, but now it's for me, it's very fruity, very vanilla-y. I think the winemaking that is quite good. I think the grapes themselves, probably second tier grapes, they're quite good grapes, not top tier grapes. I think that the winemaking itself is eminently, you know, palatable. Also, this wine is only about $40, which if you like, I have a $165 bottle of Chardonnay from Napa Valley up on my site on the shelf there. That seems a bit excessive for me, but you know, people can buy it. This is the wine. If I was going to do a wine night and I was showing different Chardonnays from all around the world, this is a very, very good expression of an American style Chardonnay.
They haven't gone overboard on this.
It is a nice. It is a
It's
nice.
nice oak to it.
Some good oak,
For-
but right, finish that when you get a chance. So, what I'm going to talk about now is we have gone from French, worked our way up to that. Right now? Yeah. No, you've had that one, haven't you, Chad?
Yeah, but I'm
No, don't pour it again. No, not yet. Let's go back.
Oh.
Now, remember, this is where we started.
Oh yeah.
So, what did I say about this wine when we started it?
Told them.
Oh, well, but also, what did I say about it when we first started?
Light.
That's too long ago for you to remember.
Oh, okay.
It's just well made.
It was well made, really good.
It's still a lot lighter. But yeah, if we're going to leave California and go back to France.
So the aromatics of this are much more punchy than that.
I just finishing that, I'm getting a lot more grippiness.
Yep.
And, not tannin, maybe the acidity.
Yeah, the
What
acidity
makes
is a lot. It's a
It's
lot
like
more.
It's not sour, but
It's a lot more glycerol to it. It seems to be a little bit more body to it. A lot more body than I was expecting. So, but try this one now.
now the toast.
Toasty
on the
oak comes
nose,
in,
the
yep.
toastiness of that oak and the
Yeah.
softness, nuttiness.
Glycerine.
So,
So basically, if you want good wine, you got to drink it in France, leave France, go to America, drink their stuff,
Come
go
back
back
to
to
France.
France and try again.
now, after the wines we've just had, remember, we started that one ages ago. We worked our way through. Everyone pointed at this one. Now, which way do you go? Yeah, you're going back to the French.
Hasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Revisiting it, it's actually relaxed on my mouth. I
Yeah.
think. Oh.
It's very.
You know the funny part, if I said to you, hey, if we were eating a steak and I said, here, have a glass of Cabernet, which strips it clean and you go back and enjoy the steak again. It's the same sort of thing. We've gone more and more into those bigger estery styles, a lot more of those oaky notes, a lot more cordite and flintiness turns up in this, to the point where that, if you're looking at flavour, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the start, it's like cleaning the palate and going back to acidity.
That's a bloody good wine,
That's
man.
right.
Yeah, it's a great wine. It's a really good wine.
That's a really good wine chaser. Though.
It's
The
a wine,
chaser.
it's a wine chaser. All right.
But
Now,
the more we have, too soft. I want more oak. I want more of this. I want more of this. I want more of this. And then we go back and it's like,
oh yeah,
That's really nice.
that's really good. Yeah. So the thing is though, whilst we all talk about intensity of flavour and more, sometimes let's just go back to the basics and have a really well made, well integrated wine that it's just, and I can't fault it. There's nothing wrong with that wine. There's no fault. That, you know, I'm sure that we could have a Chardonnay that would be like 100 times better from that same region.
you've got to split 3 ways with a mate because you can't
Yeah.
afford it by yourself.
Yeah, it's not a $20 wine. But that being said, though, the Michael Hall still sits in my head. Then the Bogle is sort of like it's the Michael Hall is a lot more of those cordite notes and struck mash notes, but some really lovely flavours to it. Whereas the Bogle it's just flavour on flavour on flavour on flavour, which can be a little bit much.
Yeah.
Whereas you go back, that's just.
You said at the start, which way do you want to go with them, Dan?
Yeah,
And I went, oh, we probably should start with the old world.
Yep.
'Cause there's more finesse, they're lighter,
Mhm.
they're good, and work up through
Yep.
the Australian and New World stuff.
But going back to that finesse,
Going back is
that's
it's gorgeous.
that's awesome. And I think on that note, we can say that our wines, nice little Chardonnay tasting. Drink well, drink like a savvy.
Oh, lovely.
Cheers.
We'll probably have to edit the crap out of that.